BRR. Welcome everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, to my podcast and to my IGTV. Now today I am going to talk to you about BRR. This is something you would have heard me speak about so much, and if you've read my book or books, if you haven't, or what are you doing, you will know that I've basically written a guide on doing it because I've done 12 of them. I've done more, but I sold some of them. Now I kind of want to maybe reach out and speak to the more old school investors and developers who are maybe sort of, saving up some cash with their day job or from whatever, inherited some money or whatever. Ooh, there's a buy to let, it's 100 grand, okay, put down 25%, it's in kind of okay condition, it'll rent out in pretty quickly, especially in this market, and buy to lets always rent out pretty quick. And it will make, it'll rent out for 600 a month, right? After mortgage, you'll net about 300 a month. So over the year, you're making 300 times 12, £3,600 a year in profit. That's good. You put down 25%, you put down 25k, do the maths, it's a certain percentage number. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. And I have to say there's nothing wrong with it because there isn't. However, I think there's a much better way to do things. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, right? And if you're thinking, I've got these savings, let me just buy something for 25%. Let me just warn you, I can't sell you the dream because, I'm too busy living it. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to tell you the reality of it, as I always do. And it's not going to be an easier approach, and it's not going to be a quicker approach. Or it could be quicker looking at some solicitors and some mortgage companies. I'm talking to you. So, what is BRR? Now, just to compare it, right? The traditional way is you buy with a mortgage and that's it. So you B, and then you sort of rent it out and you carry on. That's all you do, no problem. It goes up in value, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I've got a couple of properties when you're down the pub. The BRR is you buy it with cash or with bridging finance, which is nothing to be scared of. If you want a video on bridging finance, drop it in the comments below. You then refurbish it, which is a second R, so BR. Once you've refurbished it, now the refurb doesn't have to actually be physical. It could be some legal issue. It could be anything, right? But you're adding value, or you're re-adding value, I like to say, right? Because if it's a shithole, it kind of once had value, and you're not doing anything new, you're adding value. If you're not doing an extension or dormer, etc., which often is the case in these areas in BRR, that you're not doing that stuff. Once you've done that, now this is the really important stage. Now this increases your ROI. Are you ready? You refinance it. So, you bought it for easy maths, you bought it for 50. And all stamp duty costs, blah, 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 blah. Refurb costs, you're all in for 75k. So that put 25k on top of the 50, right? You're following. So you're at 75k right now that you've spent, right? Doesn't mean you need it, right? You can learn to raise finance. Or you can bridge it, etc. But 75k has been spent. Now, at this point, you go to a mortgage company, they send a valuer out. Oh, thank you, valuers, I love you so much. They come out, they kick the wall, and they say, yeah, this is a house. Yeah, it's worth some money. I'm going to do some really stupid calculations and downvalue it. I'm kidding. Let's not get into that just yet. Anyways, they'll give you a valuation, and let's say again, this is hypothetical, but I'm going to give you a real case study of mine to show you that actually it's hypothetical, but it's kind of real. They come back and say, well, it's all really nicely done. It's worth 100k. Stop the fucking press, Linda. 100k. Okay, and they say, well, look, we can loan you up to 75% loan to value. So 75% of the value they will loan you on a mortgage or a remortgage. So for the sharp ones there who are listening, you've just worked something out. We've spent 75k, but now hold up, we're getting 75k. So what happens with that? Well, let's say you spent that 75k all by yourself, and it was all your savings, your cash, whatever. You put that in a property and thought, well, that's the property, it's for sale, and it's kind of renting, and that's what it is. You get it back. 75k comes right back out. You now have a free house because there's no money left in it, right? When people say no money left in, this is it. You got 75k back out. Well, guess what? Let's go shopping, huh? Harrods, Selfridges, where are we going? You're going to Rightmove, aren't you? Of course you are. That's BRR. And now you might think, oh, it's so much work dealing with builders, oh my, and yeah, it fucking is. It absolutely is. If you see my Instagram, you know that it's hell. Every time. It's my 16th refurb I just finished, and it's the easiest and most straightforward one I've ever done. But let me tell you something. I still pull my hair out. I still got grey hairs. I still have aged. Why do I look 50? Why? Yeah, because of builders, because of you. So it is hell. It is really, really difficult. But think about this for a second. You've got, electrical warranties. You've got gas safe certificates. You've got a new boiler. You've got a new electrical installation. You've got new carpets, newly plastered walls, new woodwork, new doors, new hinges, new kitchen, new appliances with warranties. You've done everything, right, to make this brand new, which one, increases your rent. I know people and myself who are getting way above market rent. I'm talking 50 to 100 pounds a month extra. Now, that's profit, because your mortgage is your mortgage. It's 223 pounds a month. Whatever you rent on top of that is profit, and of course take off insurance and tax, things like that. If I get 50 quid more a month, you do that times by 12, 600 pounds. It's a lot of Nando's. It's a lot of Nando's. So that's what you get from refurbing a place. Oh, well, am I going to do all of that work just for an extra, 500, 600,000, whatever it is? But yeah, well, I think you should. The ROI is much bigger, but also more importantly, technically, you've potentially pulled out all of, if not most of your money. Newsflash, you ain't doing that with the 25%, huh? You're going back to your job you fucking hate to be like, right, well, if I keep going for 5 more years, I can buy one more buy-to-let. Do you know what I mean? That's not what you want. You want to be financially free. You want to quit your job. You want to do what you need to do. So therefore, I can buy, well, you give me 500,000, I can buy a lot of BRRs in 1 year. You give me 500,000 and say, I'll go buy some buy-to-lets, I'll do that in 5 days and it's over, and I ain't getting that money back. You ain't getting it back. Right? So if you're using investor finance as well, you can't do that on a classic buy-to-let mortgage. You need a JV. You have to pay them back. How are you going to pay them back if you don't pay yourself back? That's where BRR comes in. Right? How do you think I built my portfolio from 0 to 1.3 million? It's because I borrowed over £500,000 of investor finance, but I paid it back because I did BRR, and it kept going and kept getting recycled. I bought 15 properties in my first 9 months. I mean, it was crazy. Do I recommend it? No. But, I did that. Who else has done that at this sort of level and is sharing this with you? So learn from that and learn how powerful BRR is. Are you telling me you couldn't quit your job with 15 properties? Yeah, it took, another 6, 7, 8 months after that, to actually get them cash flowing and be financially free. But are you telling me that 15 buy-to-lets generating 300 to 400 pounds a month is not enough for you? You do the math. I have one SA. I've sold some of them, but just quick maths for yourself. That's more than enough. BRR is the way. It's the way. If you watch The Mandalorian, this is the way. And lastly, you've refurbished the house. Everything is new, everything is warranted, everything protected. You are decreasing your maintenance cost, therefore increasing your bottom line and decreasing the number of headaches that you were going to have. So, for me, BR on houses, I don't really like leaseholds because the leases, I know the reforms are coming, but service charges and new build, oh, well, Ted, you're saying about, the refurb, why don't you buy a new build? Everything's done for you. I get that, but a lot of new build developers, honestly, absolutely disgusting quality. I mean, some of them they use normal plasterboards in bathrooms, no tanking, no hardies, not even moisture board, little things like that. And I've spoken to people working on these sites, and I know what happens with the snag lists. Do you want me to show you what happens with the snag list? They get shown it. All right. Cool. If they complain, we'll fix it then. Carry on, lads. Carry on. I'm not saying everyone does that, of course not, but trust me, small, SME developers, for me, put 100% better quality than big new build developers. And that's not all of them, but it's the big boys, I believe. Happy for one to come on a podcast or show me around and to prove me different. So really, you buy one of them, you're buying something that's already overpriced, right? So you haven't made any money on purchase, which I think is really important. And you're not really getting something that's maintenance free. You should, and most times you need something a bit better than an old Victorian house. You'd hope, you'd think. But I don't know how much these new build warranties protect you either. I'm sending for everyone today, yeah, because these warranties, yeah. Anyways, we would have heard the stories. Let me give you a case study now, right? So, I spoke to the agent. I offered £51,000 on this property. Now, I was rejected. Cool. I met her on a viewing a few weeks later, and in passing, she just said, oh, I actually said, that property, what's going on with it? Obviously, we weren't boys then. And she was like, oh yeah, they want a quick sale, so, you know, Tej, if you come up a little bit, you might get a deal. And I was like, okay. I said, 54k? Fine. I think she pretty much called her as soon as the viewing was over. I remember being driving and her being like, Tej, just accepted, send me solicitor's details, let's get it going, come on. I was like, you know, I can't pretend we had some great relationship. She should have told me earlier. But at that point we didn't. So let me take you some top level figures. And if you've read my book, you can go and see this physically. So purchase price, £54,000, yeah? It was, you know what? It was not in bad condition whatsoever. I could have, what did I have to do? Give it a proper good clean, fix some guttering and then the damp, change a window or two, new carpets. Didn't even need a lick of paint. Service the boiler. You know, I could have spent like £2 grand on it, right? Or less, and rented it out, and it probably valued at the same, because let's not get into valuations, but you know, I could have valued it the same. So, pay 54k for it. Stamp duty 1,620. The conveyancing fee was £621. We're getting specific here again, Pacific. The refurbishment was £6.5 grand, over what I wanted because of Cowboy Builders. It should have been 4.5, but hey, we move. The interest on my finance, because this was actually the first property I used investor finance for. One Instagram post, hey, I'm looking for £57,000. Two guys, 8-minute phone call later, 2 weeks later, money in my account, hadn't met them. And I met them like 3 months later. They're on my earn and learn scheme. So yeah, that was pretty nice to have it fully funded. And then the interest on finance, like I said, 4.5 grand. The total money I put in, £67,000. This is important. £67,000, 832. Yeah. The RICS valuation came back in at £90,000. In my spreadsheet, I had 77.5, so bloody conservative. And this is why people like investing in me, as well as other reasons, because I'm super conservative and it still works as a deal. Anyways, agent was like, Tej, come on, you're being silly, it's going to be 85 minimum. So anyways, quick math, or not so quick maths, but 75% of 90k is £67,500. The money left in is the difference between the two of them, which is £332. It's all my investment is left in this property. The best part, it rents for £525. Decent tenants, to be fair, a bit annoying, but they pay their rent. The mortgage costs £205. The insurance costs, actually it's not even 20 anymore, it's less because of the portfolio, it's gone down to like 10 or less. And the cash flow profit is about £310, £220 a month. The annual cash flow is about £3,400. And the return on cash left in, remember the cash left in is £332, is 1,007%. Talk to me. How good is that of a deal? I put all this money in, yes, it wasn't even mine, different story. I pulled it all out, BRR, and I've left in £332, and it cash flows me £310 a month. I break even after 1.1 months. And the rest of it, well now, well, certainly I've had it for a year or so, it's a free house. All I have in is, if I sell this house, I will make 25% of 90. And I'll make that as profit. Because none of my money's left in. Whereas if I'd bought it with 25% and I sold it, I wouldn't make much profit because that 25% was mine anyway. But no money has left my account, my investors are paid back in full, and we good. So, I want you to think about BRR, right? I want you to really think about it. Go get my freaking book. It's 15 quid. Don't complain. Don't send me DMs about it until you've read it, about the price. It's 15 quid. Go get it. Look at the 220 plus 5-star reviews and learn about BRR, because there's no other book covering this topic in this detail, and there's no other e-learning which I've produced covering it in this topic. So, any questions, please put them in the comments below and I will reply. There is no stupid questions. If you're totally new to this, of course, it's going to be confusing. You know, maybe rewatch the video. If you got me on 2x speed, maybe slow me down because I speak pretty fast anyway. Please, all questions, I welcome them. And do not forget to hit subscribe.